Hello and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. We're live. It's the Sunderland 1, Leeds United 0 post-match instant reaction. I'm Stephen Brown and with me as ever is Jayson Booker. Good evening, Jayson, although not quite good evening. Leeds succumbed to defeat against Sunderland in just an aggravating Tuesday night championship fixture. Jayson, you didn't see the first part of the game. I think you caught probably tail end of the first half.
15 minutes. Last 15 minutes of first half, yeah, then all the second half.
So good enough, Jug. And to be honest, I mean, just kind of as an overview for the game, you kind of came probably at the crucial point, actually, where Sunderland started to control the game. Not necessarily control the game, but just have the better moments than Leeds. Because I actually thought for the first 20 minutes, Leeds were in control. Leeds were absolutely in control. We were good in possession. We were calm. We had all the possession. We did struggle to break them down to get clear-cut chances, but we were largely dominating. And then it just seemed to change when Sunderland got a couple of chances. Jack Clark was causing havoc. Once Archie gets booked, the momentum swung a little bit. And to be honest, Leeds were lucky to still be 0-0 at half-time for me. But disappointing again, and, you know, we're going to mention it. Ipswich have won tonight. Ipswich have picked up 3 points, so they've extended the leads over Leeds to 10 points now. Jayson, your kind of reaction to tonight's game?
I think obviously from the 65 minutes or so that I saw, I thought it looked very much like a performance which showed that we'd had a lot of games. We looked leggy, we looked a little bit flat at times. I thought, especially second half, there were too many times where the ball just needed to be moved quicker. We were far too satisfied to just knock the ball around at the back. And I get that that's part of the style, but with the way that they were kind of setting up, they basically set up a low block. They were playing 5 at the back for long periods of the game. And it felt like they were looking to suck us in and then look to hit on the break. And I mean, I don't think there were much in the game. If the, you know, at the end of the day, it weren't a flowing move or a flowing counter attack that ended up scoring them the goal. It was a little bit of a ping bally kind of moment where Stroik should have done better, I thought, with the header. It wasn't a great headed clearance. But the point is, I think the game was it was going to be one of them moments where it either fell for them or it fell for us, and the game comes away and one of the team wins 1-0. I mean, if you look at the game from a stats perspective, we actually had more possession, more shots on target, even though it didn't really feel or look like that.
It didn't feel like it, did it? No.
It felt like a drab 0-0 kind of game, and I think going into the game, I wouldn't have been too upset with the point. I think they're an all right side. To be fair, I think they're a good side. And I think we can't expect to win every week as much as we'd like to. And as much as them top two seem to look like they're doing that a lot of the time as well. I think any other season we'd probably be in the top two regardless of losing away at Sunderland. And I think right now we are just the third best team in the league. I think we're exactly where we probably deserve to be. We've still been on a really good run, 9 wins in 11, not lost in 7 or 8 or whatever it was in Stoke away. But ultimately, the performance today was reflective of not taking 3 points. I think that was fair, a fair reflection on the game, really. Apart from the Pirro chance, you know, when we were already 1-0 down, we didn't really create enough. But it was far too slow. I mean, you saw Somerville 2 or 3 times get frustrated with his teammates because the pass just wasn't coming quickly enough. You could see it on him. He were needing it quicker, because when you play a low block like that, there's so little room in between. The only way you can open up that room is by moving the ball supremely quickly or superb technical ability on the ball.
Well, I was screaming at Archie at the end as well because he was not overlapping Nonto. Like, it was literally Nonto on the right-hand side with, like, 8 Sunderland defenders, and Archie wasn't even overlapping. I was like, God. Now, that's probably instructional. I don't know at that point, but I'm just like, get overlapping.
Yeah.
Just create something. Move that ball further up the pitch, because we created bugger all. To say we were 1-0 down, we were just so, honestly, I mean, there was just barely any drama in that Sunderland box to say we were 1-0 down and third in the table.
It needed one of the centre-backs to carry the ball out and be a bit braver as well.
Well,
like,
yeah.
Too often it just went side to side between the two of them and then out to the wing, especially when Nonto came on. It was just like, give it to Nonto constantly. Just drive forward into them spaces because it can one of the midfielders out of position then.
A couple of, and the prime example, it's first half, Rodon actually did that a couple of times, and the way that transformed the pitch, it just opened it up, and suddenly there was space for Kamara, there was space for Spence, and just drive forward. It was just, frustrating performance.
I think we've got to be careful. I think we've got to be really, really careful at not getting too downhearted by it, because at the end of the day, they're a good side. I know nobody wants to lose games, right? But I mean, Ipswich have obviously had a little bit of a they had a drop in form not so long back as well, lost a couple in the bounce and whatnot. But that aside, their form is just so spectacular. It's not normal. Like, we're gonna go away from home, especially, and lose games from time to time. And sure, we can critique the performance, and we should pull it apart, and we can talk about Daniel Farke and his reluctance to change stuff before the 75th minute and all the rest of that, and the change has just been exactly the same. I still feel all them frustrations, but I still feel like we just need to have that bit of perspective. I know it's frustrating. I mean, commentary made a great point that we could see the biggest gap between third and sixth that we've ever seen, and it kind of feels like that because it kind of feels like the three at the top, even though we've lost tonight to Sunderland, are probably away from the rest of them. But they came with a game plan today, did Sunderland, and I thought they executed it really, really well. I thought they defended extremely well. But I do think we made it easier for them than we needed to.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they were so aggressive. I mean, it was just, they were flying into challengers and pressing us. I mean, Kamara, he ended up losing the ball on numerous occasions because he was just pressed to death by the Sunderland players. I mean, it was tough out there. It was the intensity Sunderland played at. I mean, it was like, I think they thought it was the 73 Cup final all over again or something. It was just in our faces so much.
The problem was, Brownies, is we got up into the position where we had a centre-backs in their half. So all the players were in the Sunderland half, and they were then playing the low block. But then what we were doing is we were knocking it around side to side, waiting for that kind of moment to open up. But when you've got quality players, especially when you're then looking to get hit on the counter, it's actually a really dangerous way to play it. You'd almost be better having the ball on the edge of your own box and allowing the pitch to be open to space. Because what they're not going to do, and this is where Dan James can be effective at times, is they're not going to just push all the way up, but they're also not going to just give you the whole space either. So you're kind of caught in this no man's land. If you're good at doing a low block and then you've got a team in front of you that are not moving the ball quickly, it means that it becomes pretty easy, really, to defend against. All you have to do is just keep position. Don't move out of position. If a player comes with the ball within 5 yards of your kind of space, you go and apply pressure. But if they don't, you don't move. You just keep that block. And that's what they did.
No, absolutely. We're going to get to your comments, guys. Thank you very much for your contributions. Also, remember to like the video as well. Martin33, we need a real left back. Well, that was the big name on the team sheet, was Jed Spencer's first start for the club, fitting in at left back after Byram's injury. I thought he got off to a bit of a shaky start. He was kind of a bit sloppy and the passes were a bit short at times, but I thought he kind of grew into the game, but it's difficult because it's just not his natural position. But, you could see the acceleration he's got, the physical presence he's got. I mean, what did you make of Spencer's kind of overall kind of game tonight?
What I saw of him was okay.
Still better than Firpo. Still better than Firpo.
Yeah, miles better than Firpo. I just think it was the wrong call. I know that a lot of people made that call that it'd be Spence at left back and Archie at right back, and I kind of thought it would be the other. And I think the game has shown that it was the wrong call. Jack Clarke is their best player. You put Jed Spence up against him, who is miles quicker than Jack Clarke, is miles quicker than Archie Gray, is physically more dominating than Archie Gray. And I think Archie, he applied himself to it better as the game went on, but I saw early on that he struggled against Jack, and Jack's, he's a tricky player. He's a very, very tricky player to play against. So for me, I think it was just the wrong option. You saw Jed Spence cutting in and playing centre midfield at times, which is what Byram does, picks up them half spaces. That's not Jed Spence's game at all. It's just not his game at all. It's okay asking Sam Byram to do that, who is technically quite good in them little pockets of space, and he's experienced, and he's played left back for a long time now, and he knows Daniel Farke's system. Jed Spence doesn't. He's an out and out right back. He's not got any left foot at all, really. So for me, it just didn't make any sense that Archie would have been far more accomplished at picking up them half spaces in midfield, given the fact that that's his natural position. So I just think that were a bad shout. I think it hampered both of their games.
Yeah, no, indeed. Glenn, thanks for your comment, mate. Wet, miserable and persistent, and I don't mean the weather, indeed. Same at Stoke, same at Rotherham. He refuses to freshen things up. Andy, no intensity from us tonight, and players seem too arrogant at times, thinking we can just turn up and win. Mr. Dodo, slow game, felt flat tonight. We lost, but it happens. Need a win on Saturday going into Ipswich next week. We should have taken Pirro and Rutter off after 60 minutes. Rutter frustrated tonight, not holding the ball up, trying too many flicks. I've got to admit, I was a bit frustrated with Rutter. There were a couple of times first half where he just couldn't, the first touch was just at times, and the decision making, and it was a bit frustrating. I don't know if he has a bit of a niggling injury. Some people on Twitter saying he was holding his kind of side a little bit. I don't know what's going on, but it was frustrating. For me, it wasn't a game for Dan James either. I just don't think it was a Dan James type game. I think, Farke should have realised that a lot earlier on. And I felt Gnonto would have been more effective with Gnonto for the fact that he can hold that ball up and he doesn't panic in possession and feel like he's just got to, do something with it and end up, giving the ball away, and it's no slight on Dan James, who's been fantastic. It's just different. Yeah. There's different games for different players, but the problem is, for me, it just looks like Farke's just, he's set on it and it's going to be that front four and maybe he's just got to think, look, sometimes we need different things for different games. Again, what was it, 70th odd minute before we saw a change? 70 minutes. It's too, it's
especially with the amount of games that we've had around it just doesn't make any sense. They were making changes after 58 minutes and it changed the game up, So I agree with you on that. And I think Gnonto did play well when he came on. He had moments, but even then there was too much space in between him and the next attacking player. They were all running away from him, allowing, expecting Gnonto to have to take on 2 or 3 players and then whip across them. And it's like, it's just not going to work. He made a couple of moments out of nothing, and Pirro were probably a little bit unlucky not to bag one with the chance that we cleared off the line. But that aside, it was minimal.
He was poor tonight, Pirro, as well.
I think they were all poor. I don't think there were really. I don't think there were anybody really that I could really have said to you, they had a good game tonight. I thought Somerville tried. I thought he was really applying himself. He was, still doing everything that we've seen him do recently, but it kind of felt like he were on his own a little bit. It did feel somebody put no intensity from us tonight and the players seemed too arrogant at times. I don't know if it's arrogance, Andy, but it felt like Sunderland wanted it more than us tonight. That's how it felt. It felt like they were just a little bit more up for it. And the caretaker manager approach might have had that, but I still don't think it's an excuse. They had the same amount of time resting between games as we did. They beat West Brom and Leeds within 4 days of each other, So they're a good team as well, though. They are a good team. I'm stuck in between it were probably a 5 out of 10 performance. They probably gave a 6 out of 10 performance because I didn't think they were great going forward. They didn't create like a hatful of chances, and we were like, oh my God, we've got battered there. That's not the kind of game it was. It was quite finely balanced, but ultimately, I think probably coming away from it with a 1-0 loss is a fair reflection of the game, really.
Yeah, indeed. Glenn, I think he was burned at Stoke. He tried to start Gruev, Anthony and Gnonto, and they were all bloody awful.
He's got a point. He's got a point with that but the problem with that was there was too many changes all in one, especially with Gruev coming into such a vital part of the pitch. So it doesn't have to be all or nothing, does it? Like it can be. It's brave to drop Dan James after the form that he's been in. I love Dan James. I've been his biggest fan, but I think there is an angle to say that certain games suit certain players, and I think it'd have been brave, but it'd have been a proper management tonight to have dropped him. and brought in. No. It's easy to say that in hindsight, but that is top management.
Yeah.
I think, and I hate mentioning him on this channel, but you think of a Sir Alex Ferguson who would, bring in Park Ji-sung for whoever or Darren Fletcher in a big game against Barcelona, and he'd play his socks off. And then next week they'd be playing Everton at home and he'd be dropped because he's not the player for that game.
No, you keep the player happy as well, don't you? Because you say, look, you're not getting picked today, but Wednesday's your game, or Tuesday night against Sunderland, you're my guy. And, indeed. Gail, credit to Sunderland, tactically got it right. Gregory, interesting one here. What do we think Farke has learned from this result? I don't know, because I get the sense with Farke that, look, he's been here before, he's seen it all, he's got the T-shirt, he's got the championship record, he's got the 2 promotions. I don't think he's going to learn anything from it. I think he's just. I would be very interested to hear his post-match reaction. I think he's probably going to say that they dominated for the first 20 minutes, and if they'd have scored, it'd have been a different story. I would predict he'll say something like that. I'm not sure we're going to see a massive difference from Farke going forward. There doesn't have to be a massive difference. Obviously, we've been absolutely flying, but like Jason's alluded to there, be brave with those decisions. Maybe we need to be a bit braver with those decisions that we've got, because we've got a big squad there. We've got a lot of players. We've got a lot of different options, and these predictable substitutions that we're doing time and time again, it's just so predictable.
I think again, harking back to his Bielsa days, and I think Daniel Farke's got similar characteristics. I think a manager has to be absolutely brutally stubborn with their beliefs to make a structure and a tactic work to the degree that we need it to work. I understand it. So you live and die by that sword, though. And as fans, and as somebody that us guys that run a pod and we chat about it as fans and whatnot, I think we're well within us rights to kind of pick it apart and pick holes in it. And for me, it must be fairly predictable when a team is scouting us and getting prepared for Leeds, that right on the 70th minute they're going to do this. They're very unlikely to do anything before, and it does make a difference in then how these games go, because that game was fine margins tonight, similar to Stoke, very very similar to the Stoke away game, very similar. And I hark back to the decision to let Bamford take the penalty, and I blame Daniel Farke for that. I don't blame Bamford. I said that at the time. I blame Daniel Farke for not having that situation, because we score that penalty, we win that game. Yeah, and I feel like that game tonight had a similar turning point. Not that it was as specific as a penalty or and whatnot, but the tide in the game was finally balanced, and it needed that change earlier to affect the game.
Yeah, absolutely. To spark it up, Neil Meslier save was outstanding. That's it. Yeah, what a save it was, actually.
I've not seen it. I've heard about it. I've not seen it because it was earlier on in the game. But the next comment from Gail Kaplan, Meslier this time, I disagree with that personally. I agree with her comment further up saying that Sunderland got it tactically spot on tonight. I think they did. I'm not saying that it was an out-and-out Meslier mistake, but you go back and watch that. He spread eagles himself that way, and the player is this way, and the goal is this way. So why is he diving this way? He dives out of the way of it. If you have a look at it, like I didn't understand it at all. I think if he's a bit more brave there, I think he clatters the player and probably gets the ball, in my opinion. And Archie was at fault as well, because Archie got himself way too deep. He was keeping the player on side by about 2 or 3 yards. So
irritating. Just as Rennie says here, well, that was irritating. Yeah, absolutely. Indeed. Gail, Gray was poor for me. Yeah, do you know what it is with Gray in a game like that? Jack Clarke was absolutely doing him for pace, time and time again. And it's difficult. It's really difficult. I mean, there's a couple of defensive headers that he plays too short, and it gave Sunderland chances. And it's a really difficult one because it's not his proper position. He's been fantastic.
He's going to make mistakes, Brownie.
I agree with you though, Jason. I mean, you've got a powerhouse in Jed Spence. You've got Jack Clarke on that side. Match it up.
It made no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. The fact that Archie's playing out of position anyway. Play him out of position on the left side. Like, play the natural player in his natural position at right back in Jed Spence up against their best player. You play your quickest player against him. I just don't. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me why we were played that way. But look, I'm not going to get. I've been here before with this, and we've been down in the dumps about a result. We probably felt similar at Stoke, and then Ipswich and Leicester both went on losing runs, and we ended up closing the gap after the Stoke game. We can't just be like, oh, that's it, it's done, it's over with. It's just not. It's just it's not. Losing away at Sunderland is not the end of the world.
No.
Ipswich and Leicester are going to drop more points. They're going to go on runs where they drop more points. I understand it's frustrating that we lose tonight and then lose a bit more ground, but it's very quickly spun back the other way. I think we just need to keep our heads.
Yeah, as Martin says here, still 25 games to go. Lots can happen still. Just a blip. We move on. Digler, shame Leicester and Ipswich had such an amazing start to the season. We got to keep going and see where we all are after 46 games. I mean, what would be the absolute kicker is if you get to the end of the season and because of that lousy start, you miss out on automatic. Because I hate the playoffs. Leeds United don't do playoffs. I don't want to be anywhere near that. I think this remains our best chance of getting promotion and back to the Premier League is if we can do it at the first time of asking. But we'll wait and see. Arthur, 23rd December, Ipswich Boxing Day, Leicester City versus Ipswich, and then Sunday Norwich City versus Ipswich.
Yeah, they've got massive 3 games on there, Ipswich. Us on the 23rd, then Leicester on Boxing Day, and then East Anglian Derby a couple of days later. I mean, we talk about turning this gap around. That's 9 points there. And just say, for instance, they do lose all 3. I'm not saying they're gonna, but let's just say that they do, and we take 3 points off them in that run. It's a totally different picture. So we just need to keep on maintaining. And then they play Leicester again in January. So, worst case scenario, they take 6 points from Leicester. Well, that means that Leicester are coming back towards us as long as we're winning enough points. So, long way to go, mate. Long way to go. Disappointing, frustrating, upsetting. I think we're a bit used to now not losing as well. I think that makes it a bit more painful. We've become quite used to winning every week. So.
Yeah, and it's not just ourselves we've let down as well. We've let the Toon Army down as well. You guys should have won that match easily against them. I know we've let a few people down this season.
They're an all right side. You should have beaten Everton easily. So
ready? Is this lost the end of the world? No, of course not. It's just annoying to drop points when you should be winning a game. I think this is the thing as well. It's the expectations. I've said it numerous times that all the pre-match talk was the front four, the squad, the attacking depth, everything. It's like, this pressure to try and win all these games, and it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And of course, you've got 2 unbelievable teams motoring ahead.
It's a tough one, mate. But there's, like I said, there's a long way to go with it, and I, for one, fully believe, and we could get to the end of the season and I'd be wrong, but I do fully believe that at some point Ipswich and Leicester are going to slow down. If they're averaging, 2.4 points per game at the moment, eventually that's going to drop into 1.8, 1.9. They're going to have periods of the season where it swings back the other way. We've seen how quickly it can change. There were a moment before we beat Leicester where if we'd have lost that game, I think it was 17 points or 15 points or something daft it would have been. It's nothing like that now. Christmas period, we've got January to come, we've got the AFCON where they both have got players that'll go. I'm just refusing to be stressing about a 1-0 loss away at Sunderland, who are a good side and they probably will finish in the playoffs themselves.
Yeah. Glenn, it's predictable, isn't it? In a tight match, he changes 2 forwards. If we go behind, he throws every attacking player left on and hopes for the best. It's hardly Guardiola.
I agree with that so much. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Fak and I'm a big supporter of him, but I do think he has some tendencies. And you can. I don't want to get into the conversation now because we've mentioned this before, but you can see why he's not been a success in the Premier League. You can 100% see it in his deficiencies at this level. I still think he's the right man for the job. I still think he'll probably end up getting us promoted, even if not this season, next season, because I think he's just got that in him, and I think we've got the players. But I do see it, and one of them is he's tactically really frustrating. He doesn't change. I look back to the Norwich game, and he got it so spot on that day, but it's exactly the same thing that he's done about 4 times after, where it's like Football Manager, and you just shove all your attackers on and push everybody up front, and one time out of 5 it works. It's very, very frustrating. I think it's very frustrating. He should have been smarter today. It almost needed another midfielder. It needed Ampadu to come off and a tricky midfielder to come on.
I think sometimes they get a bit overrun when you've just got a 2 kind of man pivot there, 2 players in the middle of the pitch. I think sometimes it can just the options aren't quite there. And I think you're right. I think throw an extra man, move Archie into midfield as well. And, just change it up a bit in a different way rather than just like for like, or then what Glenn says, just throw everybody on.
The change I'd have made, I'd have put Ampadu, Rodon and Stroik at the back. I'd have moved Archie into midfield, and I'd have put Spence onto the right with an attacking winger. Bring Somerville and Jayden Anthony onto the left side. I don't know, you get where I'm coming from. Maybe take Perot and Rutter off. But go down them wings, because that's where the space was. Have Spence and Nonto running down them on the wing, and have play 3 at the back, and have Ampadu kind of pushing into the midfield, and just leave 2 at the back, because you're chasing the game by that point anyway.
Yeah, indeed. We're going to change tack for a moment as well. We're going to invite in our Huddersfield Town correspondent on the channel, Stephen Downs, as well, because Huddersfield have played this evening, so we're going to get a little bit of post-match reaction to their game.
We can enjoy seeing Steve suffer a little bit now instead of it just being us tonight, guys.
Instead of it just being us.
Please stay to give him some grief as well.
Yeah. Steve, welcome to the show, mate. A 3-1 loss against Preston. You've watched the game tonight. Your kind of instant match reaction to it, mate.
What can I do without swearing? Crap. Yeah, let's say crap. He needs to be sacked as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, yeah, it's Darren Bohr all over, not more Bohr. It's just not good. First half, I don't know what we're trying to do. I couldn't go to the game tonight for various reasons, but I was there on Saturday. Normally, I do go to every game. I just couldn't go tonight. Thank God I didn't. Do you know, the most exciting thing is tonight was trying to see the light show on TV that they were going to do with the floodlights, and even that was crap. So, the football was just the paix de resistance, if I can use my French properly. Just shocking. I'm really sorry to depress your Leeds United chat, but my God, this is about 10 times worse the situation that you guys are in. To all Leeds fans out there, just be thankful that you're not me right now.
It's just, I can't believe kind of we're in this situation again with Huddersfield Town where at the start of the season, Warnock's there, you've got new ownership, and you start off decent. You have a decent start to the season. Warnock seems to be going, and then this insane decision. I think Jason just smashed.
Yeah,
he's added up.
I spilt my beer just before we came on, so I think we've both done the same problem.
Both done the same.
He's just rushed off now to get one of them pamper towels.
Yeah, get it mopped up.
Mind you, that might be to clean his tears. Never mind the beer that he just knocked over.
Exactly, but it's just to see it now and Darren Moore, this was the guy that was part of this 3-year plan to get you to the Premier League and all this kind of stuff. I mean, watching the game today, it feels a million miles away, doesn't it?
Honestly, so the first half they score in 2 minutes. He doesn't change the game, so we've gone behind. We're 2 minutes 1-0 behind. Doesn't change the game plan. We still play negative crap backwards going football. He comes out after the game and says, I could have made a change on the 20th minute mark, but doesn't bother to. Fine. Okay, you can't be asked to make a change, so he doesn't. Get to half time. It's 2-0 down, although if you look at Town's Twitter, they said for half the tweets we were still 1-0 down, so even they couldn't be bothered tonight. So we get to half time, 2-0, booed off the pitch. I never really boo, and I didn't boo watching it on the TV, but my God, it's just shocking. And then second half, come out, a little bit more positive. 15 minutes of puffing, uffing, that sort of thing. Ward gets his goal. And 5 minutes after Ward scores, he takes him off. I despair. You've taken off our only striker on the entire pitch and bench. He took him off. So he took him off. And he took him off and he put a 20-year-old Diarra on who's about 5'2", right? Can't win an header for crap. And we've got no striker. I don't get it. And then he goes, right. So instead of thinking any normal person, right? Us three are all saying here, and he'd go, I tell you what, I won't take Danny off because he's got 2 tight calves, which is absolute rubbish because he would have played on for Warnock. I might just take one of my 3 central defensive midfielders off to put an attacking player on. Nah, let's not do that. We'll take my central striker off. He then goes and puts Edmonds Green on, who he says is a right wing back. And my God, I don't know who's told him he's a right wing back when he's never played right wing back in his whole career. Very short it is. He's a centre defensive midfielder or centre back, and that's all he ever has been, right? I don't know what the guy's attribute is. He can't pass, he can't run, he can't win an header. He just, I mean, you talk about Junior Firpo being a crap player. This, honestly, Reg, as we all call him at town, my God, like I'm blind, but I must have really bad eyesight if I can't see the qualities in that guy because I just can't. And then we go
down, Steve.
And then we go 3-1 down, right? And there's nothing. There's just nothing, right? You think, I tell you what, we've gone 3-1 down. It's a crap game, but we'll show some fight and energy and passion and then there's just nothing. And it ends the game, and he walks down the tunnel, and he comes out after the game and says, well, we're disappointed. You know, it's been a bad day. It's, you know, I've had a bad day, Darren. Never mind you.
Well, I mean, you're looking at it now.
I've had a crap Tuesday. Never mind you, Darren, who's been paid at £3 million or whatever your contract is over 3 years. You've had a bloody good day compared to me. Get him out of that.
I mean,
just sack him for God's sake. I'll take over, mate. Pay me in Annibos. Even I know how to manage a football club. Jesus Christ. I don't like to rant and become one of these people that you can clip up on YouTube, but I'm just sick of it. Like, I sat there on Saturday. How we drew against Bristol City, I'll never know, because I just despair, boys. Like, it's like going back and watching. It's like I've entered a universal different world, and we've gone back to 2015 when Chris Powell is our manager. And the difference between Chris Powell and Darren Moore, right, is they both play crap football. They're both very nice guys, but probably not top quality coaches. They both are from a modern day tactical management era. But the difference is one guy cared and at least went over to clap the fans, and the current guy that we've got can't even be bothered to go and clap the fans, even when he wins a game. Even when he wins. And he's only won 2. He's won 2. And he still can't be bothered to go and clap the fans. Just get him out. Sorry, ask me a question because I'll just go on forever, mate.
Well, are you going to go down?
Gail says we've all had a bad day, Steve.
Are you going to go down, Steve?
Oh, yes. Who said that? Who said we've all had a bad day?
Gail.
Yeah. Darren Moore's not had a bad day. Not on his pay packet, he hasn't. Yeah, I agree. Me and you might have.
No.
Yes, Jay. Yeah, we're going down. We're going down, mate.
I think you're going to go down.
If QPR beat Plymouth tomorrow, we're in the bottom 3. Wednesday have somehow resurrected like the God that did, and have somehow stumped up some courage. So they're starting to get some momentum.
I think the upturn of QPR and Sheffield Wednesday has put you in a real bad spot, and I think there's not many other teams that I would say are proper candidates. I think Plymouth and I think Birmingham, while they've got Rooney, are going to be in and around it, but I think Birmingham will sack him and then get somebody else in that'll keep him 15th or something. That I think the upturn of especially Sheffield Wednesday is surprising. I think Coefentes, is that how you say it? It actually got QPR playing some good stuff, hasn't it? So
but the difference is, Jay, right? QPR will actually go back him in January and spend a bit of money to get him out of it.
Yeah, probably.
Sheffield Wednesday, I still think Wednesday will go down.
I think Wednesday will go down
too. But they'll fight when this new manager's seemingly getting something out of them. Rotherham are a bag of onions and they'll go down. But we're just the third to go down. Unless Birmingham insist on keeping Rooney and he's got some hold over them like Cruella de Vil. And I don't see anybody else going down. I mean, Plymouth are bad. Stoke have now sacked their manager, so they'll probably improve.
Well, what about this as a shout, Steve? Huddersfield need Heckingbottom.
Do
you think he'd go to you?
No. I think he needs a break. Sheffield United's a massive thing where he's probably burnt out from them. He's probably disappointed that he's been. If it were me, I'd say I'd go in tomorrow. I'd get Kevin on the phone. I'd say, Darren, I'm really sorry, mate. It's just not worked. And then within 10 minutes, I'd be ringing Tony Mowbray's agent and going, please sort this crap out. We can't go get Neil back because it makes us look daft. So you're the next best option. You or Gary Rowett.
I'm going to say though, I mean, couldn't the Warnock thing? I mean,
he'd never come back. He'd never come back.
Do you not think?
I think Heckingbottom's a bit of a weird one, mate. I think he's had success at Sheffield United in a very specific set of circumstances.
Yeah, but he did well at Barnsley. He did
okay at Barnsley, considering the level that they were at. I get that, but I just don't. You know how like there's certain managers that kind of just pigeonhole certain positions and roles.
Yeah.
And, whether it be Di Matteo at Chelsea comes to mind, and then never done anything else anyway. I think it's very in Championship football anyway. I think that's where Heckingbottom is. I don't think he was like, because I think me and you talked about it before, haven't we, Brownie? Like we had Heckingbottom, and then he ended up going on and winning promotion from the Championship, and we were ready to sack him pretty much after 2 months, weren't we? So, I think Mowbray's a great shout for Town. I mean, we're talking as if Darren Moore's not here, but I think he's.
I know we are, but he don't deserve to be here anymore, Jay. Like, I know that you boys have had a laugh, and we've been laughing in the chat and whatever, like over the weeks, and like Gaz has said, you're just not convinced, and I wasn't convinced from the beginning. But
no, you weren't. To be fair,
but I tried to give him a go. I tried to think, you know what? Let's give him a go. They're obviously confident in having a chat with him and what he's gonna do and what he's gonna bring. But I can't get over, boys, the fact that we go to Sunderland, win. There's 200 fans going up there, right? Whatever you say about fan support, and you take 7,000 on a Tuesday or whatever. No, I'm being serious.
No, I know,
right?
I know.
I'm being serious, but there's 200 loyal fans that have gone up there on a Tuesday night when we're fourth bottom of the league, and we're in crap form. We've got a crap squad, and there's 200 that have gone up there, paid however much, 17 quid, 20 quid for a ticket on a Tuesday night, not getting back till 2 a.m. in the morning or whatever, and we win, which we never do at Sunderland, and we win, and he can't be bothered to go over at end of game and say thanks and appreciate the fact that they've gone. It's disgusting. I can't get over that. Even like Gaza said, even at Bradford City, right, when the fellas lost like the support and they all got booed, at least I went over and appreciated the support, even when there were 3,000 of them booing him. For me, he's done. He's done, lads. I can't get behind him. I've seen enough. 14 games is enough. I saw enough under Fotheringham, but Fotheringham's got and he's probably he's the worst manager I've seen at Town. But my God, Darren Moore's getting close.
If Fotheringham was offered up, Steve, as a replacement to Darren Moore, would you take him?
I don't know what I'd do, Jay. I can't.
You would give that co-managers
the red or blue pill. One of them's Darren Moore, one of them's Fotheringham.
I wouldn't take any. I'd just take some very strong painkillers and think it was a dream. It's just, I can't. I'm finished. Like we made Preston look like Bayern Munich tonight. Honestly, I just sat there and I was like, "What's happening here?" We play Man City in 5 games, boys, in the FA Cup. It's going to be a 10-1 embarrassment.
Well, Glenn says here, Huddersfield aren't paying good money on a manager. They'll look to Steve Evans. You watch.
Right, so my mate Aidan jokes. Oh, he doesn't joke, actually. He actually says Steve Evans is a good manager, and I tell him to shut up all the time. I said, it's all right for Steve Evans. He's at Stevenage. He's playing in front of 20 fans. He's not a lot of pressure, has he? It's the easiest bloody job he's ever had in his time.
Again, this isn't to bash Town at all, Steve, but for me, they're the worst side that we've seen this year. And we've seen QPR playing badly. We've seen Sheffield Wednesday playing badly. Sheffield Wednesday, when they came to Ellen Road, they actually defended quite well that day.
I'm not gonna, Jay, you know,
Town are the worst side I've seen against.
We did a review straight after the game, right? And I agreed. I had to sit here for an hour and agree with everything that you said.
You did. And
that pains me to do that. I'd rather have sickness and diarrhea for a day, but you know, I ain't got that option. So I had to sit here and take your crap for an hour and agree with it. And you were right. I'm not saying you were wrong, but I don't know anymore, lads.
Do you think they will pull the trigger?
No, because he came out 2 weeks ago and he said he wasn't going to sack him.
I think he's got a bit of time on it yet.
They've given him a 3-year deal, Brownie. Like they've given him a 3-year deal. Like
there will come a point where they'd have to because I think.
What's the point now, Jay? What's the point? So in 5 games, there's 5 games still, by the way, between now and end of start of Jan. Jan. Sorry.
But if he were to lose all them,
well, what do you do then? Sack him?
Yeah, you sack him and you get somebody in.
I'd sack him now.
January, don't they?
Well, I'd sack him now. What's the point in leaving it 5 games? I'll tell you, we've got 5 games. But hang on, I'll get up who we've got on the 5 games.
Brown, just a quick one while Steve's getting that in. Have you seen the winning goal from Ipswich tonight?
No.
I've tagged you on the Twitter. Watford literally they gave the ball away on the edge of their own box. It was just horrendous.
So up to January the 1st is our 5 games, and you tell me where we're getting points from, right? I'll ask you individually. Right, you go first, Steve. Right, Town away at Millwall. Right, Town away at Norwich. Town at home to Blackburn. Town at home to Middlesbrough, and Town away at Leicester.
I think you could get a point away at Millwall. Millwall are pretty terrible. Apart from that, you lose all of them.
Steve?
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. I just don't know how you get anything against any of those teams. Millwall.
We're not getting a point, boys. Right, so we won at Millwall last year, but we won with Warnock. This Darren Moore team's not going to Millwall and beating Millwall, even with as bad as what Millwall are.
Well, our friend Gaz has joined in the conversation as well. I've come on here to see you guys all having a meltdown tonight. I can't see Moore getting the boot at all. He'll get January and probably until the summer minimum. He's Nagel's man on a 3-year deal.
Me and Brownie have we've semi-had this moment, but Steve's had a full meltdown.
Gaz, come on, get on here. You might.
I can't believe that Ipswich goal. By the way, you're right. I mean, that is
just unbelievable. That is
ridiculous. I mean, who's doing that for Leeds? Like, who's giving us that at all?
Just 1-1 at home at the time of that goal as well.
So then, just to reiterate, the games after that 5 are Man City in the cup. Well, I just hope there's a 7-4 scale wind and we can't play, and we managed to give Man City a 3-0 forfeit win. Plymouth, then it's Plymouth, Blackburn, QPR, and Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, that's a massive January / 3rd of Feb, innit?
Who's looking after transfers now then? Who's kind of...
So we've got Mark Cartwright that was in charge of Stoke for 7 years. And that went really well for him, didn't it? So I'm hoping that he can pull something out. But what gets me, Brownie, is they can't possibly sit there, Jake Edwards and Matt Cartwright, and think, Christ, we've got this one right, haven't we? They can't look at each other and think, do you know what? We're really enjoying this football. It's going really well.
Do you know, don't you think this as well backs up the theory about, I don't know, how teams are going for more kind of left-wing appointments and kind of, appointments of managers with a different background, that kind of thing. Do you think it supports actually looking outside the box rather than going for someone conventional and, boring, like more?
Well, what I would say is that it's interesting that in the last 5 appointments of clubs, they've all gone with managers that you've not really heard of or have been from a coaching manual that have come out one of the top academies. So they've all been academy trained. And I just think that's where football's going now. I don't think your standard Darren Moore is going to cut it anymore. I still think at lower level, probably. But, your League 1, League 2 level. But I just think more and more Championship clubs are going for, like the guy at Millwall. I mean, I've never heard of the bloke. It's... it's just so depressing, lads. Like, Mark Hughes is a bit... Guys, honestly... Right,
I've been telling him that for 2 years.
Set him off.
I've been telling him for 2 years, guys.
Get your little shirt on, Brownie. Like, honestly. If we appoint Mark Hughes, no, I can't put a Leeds shirt on.
Can you imagine?
I can't do it.
Honestly, I'll be doing cartwheels on this stream. I tell you,
you can have my season ticket if they appoint Mark Hughes. You can go watch him every game.
He'll wave at fans. He'll wave at fans, Steve.
Oh, he'll wave. No, listen. You're saying that. You're saying that as a really sarky comment, right? So you obviously don't think it's important, but I think it's. You've got the fact is he's got no connection with us. He's not even trying. So it's the fact that he doesn't even try to have a connection with your fan base. That's what annoys me. Chris Powell did. Obviously Wagner, we had it in spades, and Warnock we did. But he just needs to be sacked. I can't.
You're just at the point of absolute despair. And I'm sorry, I'm finding so much humour in it.
I can't go into another 6 months or whatever we've got left of the season just watching this. Like, especially if they're not going to back him. If they're not going to get any quality in January, then... I'll be so interested what they do in January, because if they don't buy some proper players, then we're just accepting League One. And I tell you what, we'll get eaten alive in some of them League One games. Portsmouth, Bolton, Charlton. You look at top of the end of League One, they're far better than what us Sheffield Wednesday and Rotherham are.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? Not good. Jayson, just kind of finishing up on Leeds before we sign off. Farke has come out. He's not criticising the players. He says his team weren't sharp enough. Credits Sunderland for their structure and defending so well with 5 at the back, and says the goal was fortunate. I mean, he'll be bitterly disappointed, won't he? Really, if with tonight's result.
Yeah, I think he'll be bitterly disappointed with the result and bitterly disappointed with the performance. I don't think he'll come out and say that. But I think there was a lot not to like. I think we spoke about the intensity and the speed in which they moved the ball, which I think is what was the biggest disappointment for me. Defensively we were okay. We were never really stretched that much. I know Mellion made the save early, but overall there wasn't much in the game. For me, it was a 0-0 game. But given the fact that they were at home, they set out to play a certain way. They nullified what we do so well in them, half spaces with that front 4 attacking them. So they came and they picked out a really great win against one of the top sides in the division. So for them, it was job well done, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think Danny Farke will be disappointed with the performance, away from what he'll say to the media personally, because I think there was a lot that could have been better. When you've got a team that's sitting in front of you playing that kind of style, there's just basics that you have to do, and moving the ball quickly is one of them, and we just didn't do that all night, really.
No, indeed. Myself and Jason will be back hopefully Thursday night for our Leeds United debate show, where we're taking a look back at the 2002 team and asking just how good were they really. So it should be a pretty interesting debate. So Leeds fans, do join us along for that one. Go on, Steve.
They'd have been even better if Darren Moore had managed them.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have had any boring Champions League nights in that year.
Oh, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for all your comments this evening. Do remember to pop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well for more content on Leeds United and our other teams across West Yorkshire, including Huddersfield Town. We'll be back later in the week. I've been Stephen Brown. With me has been Jayson Booker. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, mate.
And also Stephen Down. Steve, thank you very much for coming on, mate.
Thanks for the therapy session. I can't wait for the next one.
You're welcome. Anytime. We'll book you in, mate. We'll book you in. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.